Hi folks, John Cordisco back again with another great chess video for you. This is a wild game. This is from the 5th London Chess Classic Rapid. They had a rapid tournament in the London Chess Classic this year. Time control is 25 minutes plus 10 seconds. That's 25 minutes for each side, and every time a side makes a move you receive an extra 10 seconds on your clock. This is a wild game between former world champion, I'm going to have to get used to saying that, Vishy Anand is black, and Luke McShane is white from England. Vishy's from India. I had the pleasure of meeting Luke McShane in 2010 at the World Open, and I talked to him briefly. He's a really, really good guy. I got his autograph, chatted with him a little bit. He could be one of the top 10 amateur players in the world easily. He's got a regular full-time job, so unfortunately for us chess fans, we get to very seldom see him play. Anyway, let's get to it. McShane is white, Vishy is black. It's going to be Okaro Khan, 2 knights. Knight c3, bishop g4, h3, bishop takes, queen takes. Interesting, if she had taken, instead of queen, d4, knight e2, c5. With a slight edge for black there. After queen takes, e6, bishop e2, knight f6, white castles, and the computer actually gives this move by Vishy, bishop to b4, a question mark. I know it's rapid. I don't know much about the Caro-Kann, so I can't really say. It suggests d4. And after knight to b1, knight here. And looks like white's awful undeveloped. But he is castled. So I don't think that looks that bad. I don't think it deserves a question mark, frankly. But especially with poor Vishy. He's had a tough month. e5. Knight goes back to d7. Queen to g4. Queen to g3 might have been interesting. Because after castles, d4. I kind of like that a little better for white. After g4, bishop f8, he has to go back and guard the g-pawn. d4, c5. Right now my Fritz computer is off screen, and it shows about a point advantage for white. Black's a little cramped, but Vishy's played this a million times. White is what I call up the minor exchange, a bishop for a knight. White has the bishop pair. So that's probably, it's down about 3/4 of a point now, so it isn't so bad. It's basically even. Bishop g5 hitting the queen. Queen moves. D takes, queen takes. Interesting position. How are you going to keep guard on the e5 pawn? That would be the problem that I would think would be a problem for white. Bishop e3 hitting the queen. Now here's a move here that shocked everybody, but didn't shock the computer. It's the computer's second choice. The first choice is queen a5. Second choice is Vishy's move in a very close second. h5 hitting the queen. Queen to g3. Interesting might have been if bishop takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, king takes, h takes, g5 with a tiny advantage for black. That might have been the way to go. d4. Now it looks like white's going to lose a piece. Knight to e4 hitting the queen. Vishy hits the queen again with the h-pawn. This is great stuff. That's why I like rapid chess. It's just a lot more fun to watch. I'm sure the players don't like the quality, but and queen to f3. If queen to g4, after queen takes, bishop f4, queen to f5. Interesting, interesting. Just for you that are wondering what happens if the queen took the knight in that scenario, bishop f3, queen g6, queen takes, f takes, bishop takes, trapping the rook. Right now, this wacky position is basically even. After queen f3, Anand makes another question mark move, which is really surprising. And I don't think it's a move that's that bad, actually. It's the second choice of the computer, but queen to b6 was the choice for the computer, which will basically put the game at even. Vichy went queen to d5. Now, I don't think that deserves a question mark. Not because I like Vichy, but I still don't think it deserves a question mark. After queen to b6, the computer suggestion, bishop f4, knight to d6, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen to c5, with a tiny advantage for white. That was kind of the point, I guess, of queen to b6. White goes c4. He's going for it. I would probably play d takes c3 in passant. That's the third choice of the computer. The first choice of the computer, of course, what Vichy did. Queen takes, bishop f4, queen f5. If he had gone queen to a5, after knight checks, g takes, that's pretty tough there. If knight had taken, queen takes, e5, queen takes. Very similar to what happened in the game, as you'll see. After queen to f5, bishop d3, queen to h5, and Luke goes for it. There's a steal, Lukey. I gotta give him that. Knight to f6. G takes. If knight had taken, queen takes, and we can see what happens there. After G takes, queen takes anyway. Now here's where Vichy stumbles again. I'm really surprised because Vichy's a world-class blitz player and world champion for almost 10 years. Maybe he's just tired. Maybe he's trying to figure out if he's wants to retire or not. We'll have to see. I hope he doesn't stop playing. The computer calls for e5. Then after queen takes, e takes, rook checks, king to d8. But a little bit over a point advantage for white. Black has two knights for the rook. After knight to e5, queen takes, bishop d6, c5. Now I think Lukey, as white, should have, maybe before that, they were talking about going c5 now. Of course, the big threat is check. Or maybe even check here first. It's going to be tough for the black king. I think Lukey might have missed that. After queen takes, queen to d6, c5. He finally does go c5. Knight to f3. Queen takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, b4. A little under a 2-point advantage for white. White's up the exchange. After knight to c6, bishop b5, pinning the knight. The king has to come up to protect the knight. Rook gets on that pawn on d4. Black must protect. a3, just slow playing it. f5, king to f1. King has to move to get out of the pin. King to e2. He's bringing the king up. As we all know, king's a great piece in the endgame, especially with queens off the board. And that black pawn storm is coming. I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3 pawns are coming, and this pawn right behind it. He's got a like Space Invaders. e4, f takes, bishop takes. He throws in d3 check first. King F1. Right now it's a tiny advantage, less than a quarter of a point for black. King to C6. King to G2. King to D5. Rook G1. Bishop E5. It's a hell of a game, but I think Lukey's going to draw this with proper play. And this is where Luke stumbles. Must have been in time pressure. He plays Rook A to D1. He should have played Rook A to B1. And the score went from maybe half a point advantage for black to over almost a 2-point advantage for black. If he played Rook A to B1, white's still in the game. Was after Rook H5, C6. King takes, Rook checks. He gets rid of the pawn, Rook to C8. That Rook becomes active. And I think white can hold on. After Rook A to D1, checks, King. Rook takes, King takes. Now the King's pulled farther away. F5. King to G2. Here comes the black king. Come down to help the pawns. You got this pawn coming here. This pawn's coming. This pawn's going to take. It looks bad for white at this point. C6. Of course, you see the dark squared bishop is cutting off the queening square. F4. Here come the pawns. B5. Bishop C7. Nice blockade there. And with that black pawn here, that really helps out with those 3 white pawns. Now it's an over 4-point advantage for black. It looks like Lukey missed this one. Rook to B1. It's basically over now. King F1. King D3. A4. E3. Excuse me. F takes. F takes. And that's where Luke McShane resigned. Just to give you an idea what would have happened after Rook checks, King to C2, King to E2, Queen checks, King takes. You get the idea. So poor Lukey, I know he had a heck of a game when he underpromoted a couple of years ago at the London Chess Classic. I think it was against Anand. He's an exciting player. I like Luke a lot. Does it really matter that he's a really good guy? No, but it certainly helps. And I wish he played chess full time, because he would definitely be in the top 20 in the world. No question, in my opinion. But he's got a job in the financial district, I guess, in London. Can't blame him for that. He's young. He's smart. But he has a really, really, really big fighting spirit. He's meek and mild-mannered when you talk to him, but when you're playing him, guy has an intensity. He'll do anything to win. Very creative player. Anyway, folks, that's the game for today. I did want to mention the tournament is run by Chess in Schools and Communities. It's a great non-profit. For any of you that want to donate, the website is the londonclassic.com. That's londonclassic.com. Any that can donate, I guess I do PayPal, many other things. You can text a donation. Just $5 US per person of the number of people that watch this event online. We will finance it for almost 2 years, and that includes all the teaching in the schools for the kids. So think about donating. It's a huge, worthwhile cause. And I want y'all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. And I hope to see all of you in the next video. And I hope to get some great action in this rapid tournament at the London 5th Annual London Chess Classic. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.